we have any recognitions? Call this meeting to order, the Lee Student School Board. Any recognitions? Yeah.
There you go. Come up here. Are you nervous? This is Darian.
Don't be scared.
I don't know if you noticed or not, but when Mr. Farmer asked Terry to say the pledge, Darian thought he was calling on him.
You could have done it. You would have done a great job.
But, anyway, do you know why you're here? Okay. Well, we're going to try to surprise him a little bit, but he does know he's Petra Pride winner this month. Mrs. Ryder was very quick to nominate him, and she wanted you to know she wanted to be here tonight too, but she's sick today, so she couldn't make it. So she regretted that. But Darian, I think at the beginning of the year, had a little self-doubt about his ability and what he could do, and he's worked through that. Ms. Ryder's helped him. Since the beginning of the year, he showed great progress. As the days gone by, he participates in class all the time. He's ready to answer the questions. He wants to do the projects and lessons. He's ready to tackle those on his own, and he's encouraging to others, which is great to see in a middle school student, because they're not always the nicest to each other. So it's good to see one that is encouraging to others. Struggles a little bit with parts of the academics, but he's working hard to overcome those, and he's just shown great progress throughout the year. And I've noticed a lot of progress since I've seen him at the beginning of the year. So we're proud of him for his effort and his kindness to others, and he's well deserving of this award. So.
So if you guys want to take a picture.
You want to take a picture?
Come on up.
Come on up, yeah. I'll try to stay out of the way. He broke his finger in football this year. Didn't play through it. He's tough.
Any others? Ready? We're ready. Okay. We need to approve or amend the agenda. It's been moved that we approve the agenda. Is there seconds? Terry second. Matt second. All in favor, please raise your right hand. 7-0. Okay, any public comments? All right, we need to approve the consent agenda, pay the bills. Do I have a motion for that?
Make a motion.
Eric? And Terry. All in favor, raise your right hand. 7-0. Moving right along. Program evaluations, career education.
Mr. Patterson.
Evening. I should have something that looks like that in your packet.
That looks like just like it.
Ironic.
And that was put together by our committee members who were listed on there. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer.
I had one under this, on the second page under program concerns, where you have following enrollment. What classes are there? Is the enrollment going down in?
Probably the ones that are just the electives that are not, any class that is probably one of those higher level classes.
Such as?
Well, that's what I'm getting at, because
yeah.
I know Karen said none of hers were down. She said hers were
Well,
up.
I think part of that, some of the ones in, I would say, Mrs. Johnson's classes,
Okay.
so some
So
of
computer?
your computer, yearbook,
Okay.
some of those, not yearbook itself, but some of the ones
Okay.
she deals with. I think ag's okay on their enrollment, it's still pretty solid and good. But just some of those that we offer, we've offered quite a few over the years and got pretty broad.
Mhm.
And sometimes the interest is there and sometimes it's not. And I think that causes some enrollment problems. If they're required, you're gonna
Right,
fill them.
right.
And if they're not, they're gonna
You
have
know, one of
less
the
students.
concerns was on that they had written was that they, having computer applications as a required class in high school will help students in the future. And I do agree with that. I
Right.
mean, I don't know where we are on that, but I think that it would be great if we did.
Well, and I
we
think,
used to
didn't we
have
used to
to.
have it as,
A long time ago, we did.
right?
Then-
When I taught here, it was required.
It was.
So when and that is.
Well, not now.
Right. And I think some changes happened and we continually look and talk about those things. Mrs. John and I have been talking about that because you want to offer something that's viable, and we put personal finance in as a computer class to make that one, which I think there's a good argument on both sides of that. That is a
Right.
great class for our students to have because it helps them through life, period. But those that are seeking, a career in something that's gonna have heavy computer or heavy technology, most of those, they do, and to be honest, I think a lot of them find it, they steer themselves that way anyway, through the electives. But that's always probably in a small school district like ours, that's gonna kind of be a problem, I think, filling those kind of elective classes.
Does some of that enrollment go along with the overall enrollment drop, or, I mean, is that been applicable?
I'd say it probably does. I mean, overall, it probably would have to affect it some, yes. And I think it's some just interest in classes. I think sometimes, for whatever reason, a certain grade level, they're just more interested in certain things and they kind of tend to go that direction. And some they don't, so.
You didn't say on the area of concern, the computer lab is becoming outdated. What's the plan on updating it?
That's from Mrs. Johnson. What we're doing there, we are, and her concern is we're in Windows 7 right now. We are updating to Windows 10. There's an enhancement grant that allows us to do that, and that has not been, we're not even be allowed to apply yet. It's not been released for that. So when we do that, we're working through Windows 10. You don't just go in and change all the machines at one time. You can't do it that way. So we're just constantly updating. So we'll be at Windows 10 on that.
And that will have the Adobe applications with it?
We're working to do, that'll be included in that grant as
Okay.
well. And so I think that'll be important. Another thing there is just making sure, I think for her, for Mrs. Johnson, the Adobe is so, those applications that are in there are so good for what they're wanting to learn. We've got to get those on those machines, and with Windows 10, they'll be able to do the things. It's just the next tier, if you will, or the next step.
Any
that's
idea
gonna help.
time frame?
I do not. I talked to Mr. Reinhardt, and we're actually waiting on the enhancement grant. I don't know.
So you have no idea?
I have no idea when.
Like a
School year?
year or?
I would say it'll be, the applications will be available this year. I'd say probably spring.
So
And then
maybe
we can,
next year?
yeah, we can apply for them. I don't think there's any reason we don't get those. I think those
They're usually 50-50 matching grants, so.
so we'll be able to do that.
Another thing on the class, the textbooks are 14 to 16 years old. Do we have any type of plan to replace those, to get those replaced? Because that's a long time to be out of date.
Right, and I would defer to the curriculum on that.
For the
That is for
It's for
Mrs.
facts?
Yes.
For facts?
Yes.
I know for some of Mrs. Mason's books, we are looking at new science text for this coming year. Some of her textbooks fall inside the science curriculum, food science, health and nutrition. So some of those will be replaced for the upcoming school year. Now, as far as her other text, I know she has some
She
pretty.
said she would prefer the online textbooks.
Right, and that's, when we look at those, you look at the textbooks and then we have to see, what the offering is for online, because if it's something that they're just gonna be using in the classroom, that's a whole lot easier, because they're just gonna access them there versus trying to access them at home, doing those things, so that'll be a little bit harder. But whenever we get ready to start that point, I've already talked with them about the science aspect of it. Now, as far as the others, some of her actual facts books, or sometimes she even has a selling manual, those type of things. Some of those are a little bit harder to come by online, but we can probably still find those.
Well,
as
yeah,
far as-
16 years is just a long time.
But yeah, it's a bit. I get that.
So are we thinking like next year, is this on a rotation at all, or are we just looking at doing this?
Honestly, The CTE classroom, they've never really been on a rotation. They've always just, if they've needed them, they've asked for them. Because I know Ag asked for some, 2 years
years
ago,
ago.
and they got some as far as animal science. So I would probably encourage Karen, if she really thinks that she has some that are truly outdated that need to be replaced, that aren't science geared.
Well, she wrote it in here,
Right.
that's what I'm going on.
Sure.
And we can do that. I know that there's carts available too, so like
Right.
Mr. Charlton said, if it's something they don't have to take home, then the feasibility of doing an online book might be really good for a
And
text.
then if that doesn't work, we can always, there's lots of different avenues to go. I mean, you don't necessarily have to purchase brand-new textbooks. You can purchase 3-year-old textbooks and get a huge discount on them, and then get a classroom set. So you buy 35, 40 books, and it's a third of the cost it would be to get brand-new books. Is it the greatest solution in the world? No, but it's a solution. So, I mean, there's just different ways, there's lots of different things to look at, and if we get to the point where that's a feasible idea, that's an easy one, so.
Some of her classes, though, it's nice because 35 is like all encompassing of one of her classes because she has like 6 preps. So, I mean, that covers everything.
So just go back to the online stuff, so then, we assume everybody has a computer and we know they really don't at home, so we have.
She luckily has a laptop cart that is hers alone,
They can-
standalone in her
they-
room,
they
so
can take home.
typically,
She
At home,
No.
no.
she doesn't do a
No,
lot
we don't
of,
allow them to
She
take it.
doesn't
Yeah.
do that type of
So then, they
That would be.
but most of her assignments are done in class,
Okay.
along with, different things, so it would still work out all right.
On DECA, what are they talking about for the elimination of the main fundraiser? Do you know?
That was the jeans.
Jeans.
They used to pay, yeah.
Oh, DECA
Teachers
sponsored
paid,
that?
Yeah.
teachers paid $1, I believe.
It was, the end of the year, we pay $100 to wear jeans like the last month or so, right? And
And
then,
that was
I
it,
think- yeah, I
yeah.
think-
Most,
Yeah.
during the year, you paid $1, anybody
Yeah.
could pay $1, and then at the end of the year, it was.
Yeah, oh, yeah. But what's
so
the?
that was CTA though, DECA was the 100.
CTA was on Wednesday.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, and what about the clothing room to display their professional, I mean, is there not somewhere where they can?
We've been looking at different closets and
Yeah.
spaces, and there again, it's just a matter of space and a good spot.
Yeah.
Sometimes you have the space, but it's not necessarily the
In
right
the right
spot.
spot?
Her room is crowded.
Yeah,
I mean, we've looked in other places in the building, so
yeah.
sometimes because equipment or breaker boxes.
Depends on the
it's
time
just-
frame of
yeah.
the year also, yeah.
Okay, anybody else? Concerns, thoughts? Okay, thanks, Jeff.
Thank you.
Okay, I believe we're.
Motion to approve.
Oh, sorry, thank you. Motion to approve, and a second. Thank you. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Ready?
Yes, sir.
Let's move on to superintendent reports.
The enrollment report, we're sitting right at, that was as of this morning. It's under October, but I double checked, we're halfway through November, but I checked this morning. And we are at 1324. Last year at this time, we were at 1320, this exact day. So we're still ahead, and then our, as of this morning, I didn't update it. I'll do that for you next month, when we're in December, once we're through November. But as of today, we're at 94.9 in attendance, and last year it was 94.4. So we're ahead in enrollment and attendance right now at this point compared to last year. So we're staying steady. That's a good thing. That's a good thing.
One steady, one the rate.
So,
Yep, as long as we're not going down.
yeah.
Hopefully we can grow.
Okay. Financial report, anybody got any questions on first one? Okay.
Financial report as of the 31st, is Halloween. All our funds, we're sitting at $1.8 million, all funds, that's we're still sitting pretty good. This number right here looks strange, but we just haven't been depositing anything in there. So the next 2 months, Karen will deposit some of our state funds into that to make up that $88,000. So we are $88,000 in the hole in capital, in Fund 4 and our capital fund. It's just because we've been depositing it over here in Fund 1, that's all. So we'll start, this next couple months, we'll catch that back up and get that back to even. And the reason we don't deposit it in there in the beginning, because that is considered a restricted fund. So we can transfer money at any point from Fund 1 to Fund 4. So that's why we just don't, we catch it up as the year goes on. So periodically, periodically, oh my gosh, I'm on open now. Periodically, this number will go in the negative, but that's perfectly fine. No big deal. It just means we're not putting money in that account. And we will continue to do that. Revenue and expenditures for the month of October, our revenue was $958,000, and our expenditures were 1.1, almost $1.2 million. So we deficit spent last month of $207,000, but since we started off really well, we are still $151,000, almost $152,000 in the black. So we haven't deficit spent. Next month, when we sit down, it'll be a deficit spending. But then beginning in December, we'll get a nice local tax bump, somewhere between, the last 4 years, if you average that together, is between $350,000 to $400,000. This month, we're in the middle of this month. In fact, we've been sitting around figuring out, how to do it and what we're gonna do. Everything's good. We should be fine. So our total expenditures for the year are $3.2 million. As compared to last year at this time, it was $3.4 million. So revenue, or actually expenditures, we're down $244,000 from last year at this point. And if you look at it, that's the first quarter of the year. So we're doing well, but remember, we still have $90,000 in summer school payments to pay for. So it's really about $150,000 that we're ahead, but we're right where we're supposed to be, right where we thought we'd be when we started planning. State funding, we are down at this point, down $45,000 or almost $46,000 from this point last year. But remember, we're still not being fully funded. We still think we're gonna get it to the 6308, and that's I have a meeting tomorrow in Springfield. That's one of the things we'll talk about is what the SAT, the state adequacy target is 6308. When will we get there? We're currently being funded at 6261. So when it jumps to 6308, we will make that up and hopefully get to exactly breaking even. And make the exact same thing we made last year, if not a little bit more. That's the hope.
And that'll be by the end of the year?
By the end of the year.
Will they back pay for?
Yep, the back pay. They start making it up. So, and then they prorate it and get it back in there to where it was funded 6308 from day one in July. Yep. Financial dashboard, we're $111,000 in the black. We are good. So if you look compared to last year, we're different. This is labor costs. We've saved $111,000, almost $112,000 from last year at this point. Just our bills and other things, we are a little bit behind, or a little bit ahead. We spent a little bit more this year than we had at this point last year. But again, some of that is we spent more in capital outlay at this time last year. Remember, that'll be capped at 150. So it's not. We're just a little bit ahead there. So not bad, not bad at all. A little bit higher in fuel costs this year. Labor's down a little bit, transfer supplies is up a little bit, and capital outlays up from last year. So it's not, but we've got caps on those. We hope.
Fuel's coming down too.
Utilities, last year at this point, last year to date, we'd spent $93,000 in electric. This year to date, we spent $83,000, so it's $10,000 less. This cold month might change that a little bit, but currently we're there. Trash and phones, almost less than $2,000 difference. And then the total, last year to date, we'd spent $127. Last year to date, we spent $127. This year to date, we spent $118. So we're doing fine there. Month to date, this was a big month. So we're still doing well, but that was, that. So that is that report. Hold on one second.
Thank you for printing those out, Tammy.
He did that.
Good, thank you.
Quick review of
practiced with this afternoon, didn't I?
Technology's great when it works, isn't it? You want to go on with curriculum or operations report? You can practice some more?
I'll get it. There we go. Okay, this is the four-day week evaluation up to yesterday morning when I printed this off. This is staff and teachers with 133 people have answered, or 133 people have taken the survey. Right now, you can the graph shows it strongly agree and agree. When you look at actual numbers, it's 78.2, 15.7. What's that? 93%. About 93% in favor of returning, continuing the 4-day week, and that's the first question. Second question, and then we've got. If you want, I'll email you all this so you can read the comments.
Yeah.
And there's some that are, it's overwhelmingly positive, but there are some concerns. Of course, there should be. Second question was, I generally had a general positive experience with 4-day school week. Again, strongly agree and agree are the two biggest. We've had a total of 8 people out of our staff that said they haven't had a good experience with it. So again, that's 93% there, now almost 94% in favor. And there was a comment section there as well. This is about the community. And I put neither agree or disagree on this one because there's some people who may not have heard anything. So that's 45 plus 35. Again, 80%, somewhere there. They've had good things, with 15% saying they haven't heard anything, but only 3 people total, so 2%, 2.2% saying haven't heard good things. And this is our teachers, and agree that they could use. The question is being able to utilize Mondays for doctors and dentist appointments and other appointments. Again, 6 people said they didn't like it. The other out of the 133 have said yes, they've used it. School attitude. This is teachers trying to decide or trying what their observations that the kids enjoyed the 4-day week. Are the kids' morale up and attitudes toward school? Again, 73% are saying yes, that they've seen kids have better morale and better, and then 25% saying there's no difference, and only less than 3% have said that they don't think it has done that. So overwhelmingly positive. I'll get that sent to you, and that's the faculty.
Looks good.
The community survey, real quick. Same questions, there's a couple that are worded just about a little different, but they're basically the same questions.
400.
400, that's correct.
Yep, we've had 400 folks respond. Actually, I had 2 more come in this morning, so now it's up to 402. It's still trickling in.
Is that, is it been pretty much equal among the 3 schools, the correspondence coming back?
I have no idea.
You don't know.
We can't track that at all because it's completely anonymous, so I can't.
It's online?
Yeah, it's online, completely anonymous, so. And we could have had that as a question, which one are you at, but then that scares people because then they don't think it's anonymous. So I just left that out so it would be completely anonymous. So, whoop, there, push the page down. Oh my gosh.
You're just practicing.
I know, I did that earlier. Okay, so if you look at 400 responses, 88% have been positive, with 11%, just over 11% negative. So that's, again, overwhelmingly positive. And again, there's a bunch of comments. I think there's 50 comments there from the public.
Wow. Funny thing, I was talking to myself, not her.
Oh, 58.
She should.
Oh, there we go. Keep going. Comments. What are we up to? 91 comments. And the last one because. Yeah. Thanks.
That's
Next question. My family has a general positive experience. Again, about the same thing.
That's 89%, 90%, with 10% less than 10%, so over 90% in favor. And the first two questions I allowed for comments, and then the last two questions are all comments, positive or negative. So we didn't go over those, I'll just send those to you. In the community, again, very overwhelmingly positive, 78% with 15% saying they hadn't heard one or the other, so it's very positive, very, very positive. This is a little bit, changing it up a little bit and making them actually read the question. And 4-day week has been created, a hardship for finding health care. So
I thought that would be higher,
50, 75, 76,
We were
77%
really
are
surprised
saying
when we
no.
got the initials on that back too. None of them really thought that was an issue. That was really surprising,
So still it's
I thought.
overwhelming 77%. Then the same thing that they use Mondays for, that's, again, right at 90%.
Be careful.
So it's
Shush.
overwhelmingly positive.
No, sorry.
So I will send this to you so you can all, an attitude towards school, same thing. So along the same line. So they mirror each other's staff, and if you add the staff and the community together, that's 530 some responses that we've got.
That's a better response than we had.
So I will email this out to you.
Terry, that's about how many votes you got.
Negative effect. People say no, it hadn't been a negative effect. And then this is just all, all the comments. The last two are concerns, any concerns you have and any positives that you've seen from it. So it's been overwhelmingly a positive experience. I'll get that all out to you so you can look at them. And it's just this right here is what I'll be doing, this exact same.
Okay, that'd be great, thanks.
How come I'm the one that was shushed?
So that concludes my report. You guys are up next.
Hey,
Operation.
how about operations report?
We, Ronald replaced in Granby Gym a heater, 1987, so it's made it a pretty good time. We have a 1988 heater that's going to get replaced here. Also, we'll see if it lasts through this winter.
They're more efficient too than the ones.
Yeah, that's true.
That's not mine.
Are they the ones that hang down?
No,
Oh,
these are the ones that take care of the locker rooms, those
Oh.
offices.
okay.
They're like they're in those storage rooms.
Oh, okay.
Got during the lightning strike, when was that? That was earlier, that's like in July or August, that was in August, when we didn't notice they got the security cameras, at Granby got 9 security cameras. Total of $2,745. Of course, we don't have to pay $1,000 or deductible, so we got this taken care of. Also, I did some figuring on from July till now. We have saved $15,000 with our solar panels.
Oh,
$15,000.
That's awesome.
that's real very good.
From July till now.
Mhm.
What did we pay for those?
Sorry.
Oh, that's okay.
You know?
I don't remember off the top of my head. It's pretty much trying to
Is it-
save, or what we saved in our electric bills to pay our lease payments every year. So
Gotta slow down here. in the winter
it probably
months.
will slow down here.
Actually, I produce more in the cold months
Do you?
because
Yeah.
the solar panels are more efficient when they're cold.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah, they are. He likes it cold, as long as the sun's,
Sunshine.
Mhm.
Okay, anything else?
That's all I had.
All right. How about curriculum and instruction?
Myself and some other teachers are going to be going to Mercy Hospital to meet with them and their IT department regarding the Crowder Pathways grant that we are part of. So we'll be doing that tomorrow, then going back to Crowder and meeting with them and the other school districts that are part of it. Practice map and EOC items have been released by DESI. We've given those out to the high school, so they have those, and I'll be in the process of getting them out to the elementary so they can go over the question types and see if there's any standards that they can see are being overemphasized or something they need to hit more on. The change that's come down, November the 26th now, we will get our initial map data, the confidential one. Yes. On the 27th, we'll get the initial student reports.
This month.
Yes, next Monday.
Impressive.
Yeah, it went from
Is
the
that a-
March.
that-
Should have been water.
Oh,
Yeah.
Well,
should
yeah,
have
but
been July,
it said
but.
March, right?
Yeah, that's awful.
January 7th, we'll get our preliminary APR, and on February 1st, the final APR will be released to the public. So by February 1, it should all be done.
For the schools, we'll get them in November.
Yes, map data released to the districts, and that's on the secure MCDS portal.
Mm-hmm.
And then on the 27th, the individual student reports, so those could actually be printed out and sent home to
Awesome.
kids, or to the parents.
Wow, that's really cool.
Yeah,
That's what I thought.
I have no idea.
Right.
You know, they went from saying it's gonna be forever and a
Yeah.
day to.
We'll
it's
do it
now.
next week.
Exactly. So, all those.
Okay.
We talked about
Well,
the cut.
That's good, though.
Oh, yeah, I mean, I was
That's really
was
good.
pleasantly surprised, because I really
Yeah.
thought it was going to be, they were gonna establish cut scores in
Yeah.
January, and
Yeah.
then we would be talking, I honestly didn't know we'd get APR.
Did they go back and redo the cut scores, or do you?
Yes, got that too. They went back and redid them. The only thing they adjusted was English Language Arts on English 2, which is our sophomore
Mhm.
class, and on 7th grade ELA. The cut
Everything else
score,
was stayed the same?
everything else stayed the same. The adjustments for English 10, they did not add any students to below basic, and no students were removed from advanced. The adjustment was on proficient and basic, and the number of students in basic increased, and the number of kids in proficient decreased. That's statewide. Yeah.
So they made it, okay.
So as our scores come back, be aware that the cut scores would have changed, you know, we would have had more kids in proficient, but they changed this cut scores to make the
Mhm.
test more difficult, so we'll have more kids in.
But any kids that
But
we
those
did
are
have in
the only
advance, they
grades they-
stayed there. They did not go down.
Okay.
The 7th grade ELA, the adjustment was made between basic and non-basic, and all that really did was it lowered the non-basic score. So we will have less kids in below basic and an increase in basic
Okay.
scores statewide. So those are the two big ones that they changed up. And we'll know more of that.
You don't have any idea if the cut scores that they came up with were like, had
They
anything
didn't- they didn't-
correlated with last year's, or?
They didn't say
No,
what
they
the
do not
initials
correlate
were.
with that.
They don't. So
Well-
they are all
So they're all
hard.
standalone.
What we've been told is we cannot compare this year's scores
Okay.
to last year's scores. Don't-
Not just the
and
test,
We
but the
actually, we've
scores.
been told, tell your boards, tell your boards, tell your boards,
Okay,
that they're not comparable. So,
okay.
in those areas, they're not comparable.
Well, that's comparable next year.
Well, they,
Except for
That's a good question.
I don't know, I'm asking, that's what.
We
yeah,
don't
who
know.
knows?
the last year's science test was a field test, so this year's science test will be the initial. So you can compare that, but then we're also getting ready to have a new social studies field test, so there's always gonna be one you're not gonna be able to compare to.
Okay.
So that's why we're in the, that's why we paid that, $1,300 to invest earlier last year. If you remember, you all voted to invest $1,300 in an alternative to map testing, and we're a part of that consortium. That's 79 schools, 80 maybe.
And
80.
when is that supposed to?
It's ongoing right now.
Okay.
The consortium, which is led by Ladue and Springfield, the two largest school districts in the state, they're leading it. Our $1,300, they're picking up the cost, we're just trying to throw in a little bit. And what it is they're trying to develop alternative testing to the map, to where it's more of a holistic test, where they test throughout the year, instead of one big test of the year, so you can take, assessments as the year goes on, and truly make adjustments as you go. So it's sort of like the old days where you had a pre-test and a post-test, and then you could tell how much you learned. It's kind of what we're going back to, so that's what that's about. So eventually, hopefully, we get a waiver from the idea is to create this and get a waiver from the federal government, and then the schools have created the test, or the assessment device, and not a testing company. So that's the whole goal of it.
Okay. Any other comments? Okay, moving on. Under old business, 2018 policies and procedures. We passed those out last month. We looked them over. Anybody got any comments on those?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded that we approve those. All in favor, raise your right hand. 7-0. Let's move on. Motion passes. Accept the RFQ for roof repairs.
Let's pass them down, please. I put together for you the information. We had 2 people submit a request.
You do something good.
One of them is the Roof Assessment Management Services. They have an office here in Webb City. They're nationwide. And then Modern Roofing Consulting out of Fenton, Missouri. If you look below, there's references there. Got them separated for you. They both had great references. I didn't find anybody say anything different. I even tried to do some calling people that they didn't have listed. At the very bottom of the page, you see, we legally, I could not, you can't, on RFQ, you're not supposed to ask for prices. They, on their own, provided these prices. I did not ask for them. They were in there. So you can see the difference. So I'm the senior consultant, a big difference there. And I don't know if it'll, that's one thing I can ask, is I don't know how much, with Modern Roof Consulting, we've used them before. I know it's one person, and then he'll send the quality assurance observer, usually comes every 2 weeks or so and looks over. Of course, if you want someone to be there every day, you can pay for that. I mean, you're gonna pay for it. And I'm not sure on the other one, since we've never used them, how many people are on site during that time. So that may be a smaller amount there, but it may be more of them. I'll be honest with you, one out of Wood City interests me in the fact that they're close.
Yes.
And we had any
They,
issues.
they charge a little more for mileage, but they're not
Yeah.
very far.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Not very
exactly.
far.
Yeah, no, not very far. On the back page, it kind of tells you kind of what scope I put for them, kind of what they'll do for us. The main thing is the roof design, the project management part of it. Making the specs, designing what we want, making sure when we bid that out, we know if there's any issues, they'll go up there and do a core check on those roofs. Of course, with any type of construction, you can get going in there and end up finding other things that rear its head that you weren't expecting. Having someone like this is like having an architect or an engineer whenever you're building something. You're just having someone there that has a good idea, and make sure, has a good idea what's going on, and also make sure it's being executed. Like I said, I mean, either one of them, I think would do a good job.
So you don't have any preference?
Not really.
Okay.
And this is for what roofs?
Right now, what we're looking at is, what I like to do is look at Granby. Has the big main roof that was built in 2000, 2001, that covers the 5-6 hallway, and then also the north part of that, it covers those offices and the library. And then there's a smaller roof there, and maybe you haven't priced the roof that's over the cafeteria here at the high school that was done in, I'm trying to remember, 2010. We've had pretty good luck with the TPO we put on 2016, so that may be the product we're looking at.
Eric, what's your background?
Yeah,
I mean, that stuff he's talking about, that product is really good. It's like a rubber roof. I mean, they roll it out in sheets and then they seal it and weld it together. It should last real good.
So you see anything on either one of these that you like or don't like, or what's your thoughts?
So if you get a consultant, though, if something happens 2 or 3 years down the road, are they liable? I mean, do they?
The consultant, no, now there's a warranty, just like the ones we did in 2016, all
Yeah, the
those have 20-year
contractors have
warranties.
warranties.
Yeah, now the consultant, I think what I put, if you look at the bottom of that, it has complete annual inspection for first 3 years after the roofer has been installed. Now, no one balked on that, but I imagine when we pick them, when we go to contract, we'll see where we go, and they have to do some negotiating. You can ask, but you don't always.
Right.
So.
Now, as far as getting a consultant, in my experience, as long as they're not getting a kickback from the contractor.
Yeah,
You know, it works out pretty good.
that's also in the part of the specs that I gave. That's not in this, but that's, I put that in there. no ties.
Yeah.
No ties with any of the roofing manufacturers. So, and they both of them put in there they have no ties with them, so they've worked with every type, every style of roofing.
Except because I Web City, it's probably
Mhm.
cheaper.
Mhm.
Yeah, less
Closer
mileage
and-
too, that's, you know.
Yeah.
Of those two roofs that you're talking about, or three, are they leaking? Are they having some leaks?
They're not, I mean, every now and then you'll see a leak, but they're at the end of their warranty.
Okay.
And in 2016, we was able to cover the majority of them that were built about the same time at Triway. So I feel better.
It's
if we-
routine maintenance at this
Yeah.
point, it needs to be done.
So
So
they're
we
just
don't
gonna
end up-
inspect at this point?
Right now, what we would do is whoever we pick, I'm gonna go up there, I'd take them up there and show them what roofs we're looking at, get their opinion, and then we'd go from there.
They'll get bids.
Mhm.
Yeah, and then if we're on agreement with them, or they think that, yeah, this is what we need to do, then we'll go out and get bids. I'd come back to you guys and say, hey, we wanna bid these roofs out. Kinda like we did last year, we bid out, I think at Triway we bid out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 roofs. And they were separated, so, and that company was ended up bidding, we were able to do all of them because on the price, and it turned out well.
Do you have a preference?
Like I said, no, either one of them, I think. I kinda like the Web City guy's close, and his numbers are looking small there. The only thing that, he's got several, he listed more people, more staff, so that would just be my question to him, is how many people are gonna be on site? So,
Where is Fenton?
it's up by St. Louis.
Mhm.
And then, like I said, he did the 2016, and then the next year when he did a good job. Like I said, I'm comfortable with both of them. The references I got from the company out of Web City was really good.
Which one has done work for us?
The one out, Modern Roofing, one out of Fenton.
Do they come down here and stay the night, do we pay?
We never had to stay with him, no. He'll drive down and go back. And usually is working in different jobs,
Oh.
so somewhere close.
So your recommendation is the Web City one?
If he doesn't
Gonna
listen.
pin him down.
How about we
I-
make a motion?
Yeah.
We make a motion, I'll make a motion that we use the Web City.
Okay, is there a second?
whatever,
It's
it's all-
been moved and seconded that we use roof management. Is there any other comments? Seeing none, proceed to vote. All in favor, please raise your right hand. Thank you, 7-0. We're gonna go with roof asset management.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you for getting that together.
Yes, thank you. All right, we are gonna go on with new business under the scholarship applications. You all should have gotten those in your packets and had a chance to look over them. You know, we're not gonna make the same mistake we've made in the past, so we're gonna go by number. And if we have any numbers or any
We
thoughts, we learn with our mistakes, it's okay, so we're in good shape.
I like number 4.
Oh,
Thank
I did
you.
too.
I-84.
Okay. Anybody else have any comments? I liked it for a lot of reasons.
Yeah,
I mean, that, I won't make anything, no
I-
negatives.
I
Please don't.
love a clean, crisp
Thank you,
Yes,
item.
very well.
one on Mark.
Anybody else? Is there a motion to that effect?
I make a motion for number 4.
Is there a second? And there's a second. It has been properly moved and seconded that we have number 4 as our scholarship applicant. And any further discussion?
What, number 1? No? What was that?
You choose one.
You just choose one.
Right, but I'm saying number 1.
You want number 1?
Did you, yeah.
I didn't have anything against it at all.
Right.
Yeah, I didn't even, they were all,
Yeah, that's
yeah,
why.
they actually were all, it was kind of tough, that I tend to agree.
I went with
With
4
the-
because of the crisp clean, it looked good, they were all so close that I was looking for just any little thing that made a difference, and that was one thing I saw. Any
Yeah,
other
something
comments?
else, well, I'll comment. I looked at class rank, and I
Mhm.
thought bank think this would be one that might not get the scholarship like
Within
some of
that.
the others, and so I thought that would be a, opportunity for that child to have a scholarship.
Maybe put forth the extra effort.
Yeah, I did feel like that was.
Anybody else? Thoughts, comments? It has been moved and seconded, any other discussion? If not, we proceed to vote. All those in favor of number 4, please raise your right hand. Thank you. All opposed? 7-0 for number 4. Okay, board election filing dates, you've got paper on that. All we need is a motion and a second, and we'll take care of this little issue.
I make a motion.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Discussion?
Is this how long it's always been open, or the same as everything else?
Okay. Any more discussion?
Except for it's just 4-day week now.
Is that set by the state or?
Yeah.
I mean,
The start date and the end date are set by the state. And as long as you advertise inclement weather, that you'll be closed, and days off for holidays, then you're good. They give you a guideline of everything you need to list. And we actually list an extra thing because it's not mandatory, but it's, they suggest that you let them know the filing order, that before they sign up, that it's first in, first on the ballot.
Okay,
So I put that on there just because.
very good. Any other discussion? If not, let's proceed to vote. All in favor, please say aye. All opposed? Motion passes. Okay. All right, the next one, number 3 on new business. Bill Kirby named school homeless liaison and Darren Cook named migrant ELL coordinator. And I think this is stuff we have done because it has been mandated by DESI. So, we need a motion first, then we'll discuss it. Okay, it has been moved. Is there a second?
Second.
And it's seconded. Any discussion on making them our migrant ELL coordinators? Discussion? Okay. In another hearing, we'll take a hand vote. All those in favor, please raise your right hand. All opposed? Motion passes 7-0. Okay, summer school application.
So we can have summer school.
Let's have summer
Please
school.
say yes.
I make a motion to accept.
And I'll second it.
There is motion and second that we have summer school. Any discussion?
I just, you talking about going with the same company?
We are actually going to do it on our own this year.
I'll be good, because I looked at the cost of that and I thought, wow, that is tremendous.
Well, actually, we're looking at doing it, but he came in the other day and I told him, I think we can save about $100,000 doing it ourselves.
Thank you.
The trick is, it's very easy the way we're doing it, that's what you're paying for the convenience.
Yep.
What we have to make sure is we keep our numbers up as high as they were, because our summer school attendance goes on to our, normal school year attendance, so we have to make sure it stays high. So what we'll do is use a lot of the things they're doing. We won't use their curriculum, because that's their curriculum, we'll create our own, but some of the, incentives and some of the things they've done will maintain that and still be able to, I think, still be able to save about $100,000. The big thing is we gotta make sure we keep the enrollment up. And currently, the principals and, Mr. Charlton have got teachers, I don't think we're start writing it yet, but we found teachers and starting to writing the curriculum really quick. Sounds like we don't need to, but it'll be here before we know it, so we gotta start writing curriculum now. So, we're on top of it. I think at our last 2 principals meetings, we've had that discussion.
I know there was a little incentive, like money.
Yep,
Is
I
that
would
still
recommend
gonna
we
be-
stay with that.
Yes,
Yep.
because that's a big.
It is
Yep.
big incentive.
Yes, I mean,
Really,
It is.
in the grand scheme of things, it's a good chunk of money, but
It gets them there and it keeps
instead
them
of
there.
really what it is we pay Catapult Learning, and then they turn around and take the incentive money out of what we
Right,
pay
right,
them,
right.
and then turn around and give the kids.
Project.
Let's just remove the middleman and we'll
Right.
just pay, we'll
I
just do
agree.
the same incentives that Catapult does, we're just doing it ourselves.
And I think that's what we paid for, what we wanted when we voted for it was the more kids coming.
Right.
Yeah.
So
And that-
if we can just
that-
maintain that.
That did happen, right?
Yeah,
We had
we did
more
get more.
enrollment.
Right, our,
Okay.
for the last 4 years ago, enrollment was 35 for the summer. Then it's been 58, then it's been 63, and this year was 65,
Yeah.
so.
Okay, any other discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor of having summer school, raise your right hand. Thank you. All opposed? 7-0. Motion passes. Okay, let's go down to the lease purchase, 2 buses. Is there a motion that we lease purchase 2 buses?
Okay.
Okay. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, it has been moved and seconded that we lease purchase
If
2
there's a
buses.
pause, I just say it.
How about some discussion? Anybody got any thoughts on this?
So this is our plan we set
Yep.
for.
And actually, depending on the, and Rusty's been working on that, trying to get, our interest rate, man, it's skipped out of my head, trying to get the interest rate as low as it could be. We'd love to be able to buy 3, but no, we can't. It would be probably,
Well, we're stretching it.
And
Yeah, it'd be
and
stretching it. So two-
they'll be pretty new,
yeah,
There'll be
But brand
19
new.
buses.
Are we trading 2 in?
retiring too, bro.
We're
Retiring.
retiring too. Okay, and
we'd
these
sell,
are,
we'd sell them.
It's a big brand new
Sell 'em
bus,
outright.
77 passenger.
Yeah, they're
Chase-
they're
big
two
one,
big
Chase
ones.
and
and they're, what brand are we looking at?
Blue
Same
Earth.
thing.
Okay. And we're going to do this by, when are we thinking these will be put in place?
Well,
July, I'm sorry, go ahead.
well, it'll take 90 days from whenever we order them. So we'll take the rest of